Okay, so it's Thursday evening, it is just gone 6. I am tired, I do not want to be training this late, but because Zuko had his surgery Tuesday, I am on Zuko watch pretty much all day. I'll leave him for the odd like 5-10 minutes here and there, but for the most part I'm just staying in the room with him just to help keep him calm and keep him away from his wounds. Keeping him calm hasn't been overly successful, but to be fair, he's been really well behaved in terms of not getting his wounds and stuff too much. He's got a little soft suit on. I did get a cone today as well to put on so that we could wash his soft suit, but he was not overly happy with me when I put that on him. But to be fair, he ended up kind of just sleeping, but he's definitely struggling not being allowed to go for walks, but it's fine. I think he's fine. Sleeping on the sofa the last few nights just to be with him, and basically we've shut him in the living room so that he can't access the stairs, has been fine. Like, I've been sleeping, but because I've got a cold, I've been coughing quite a lot in the night, and sleep's obviously not been as deep on the sofa. I've not been as comfortable. I've been waking up a lot more during the night, so actual sleep quality is definitely down. That combined with being ill anyway, not the greatest thing, so don't really feel like I'm getting over this as quickly as I probably would if it wasn't for the sake of sleeping in the living room, but that's fine. I'm also training later this week because I'm waiting for my boyfriend to get home from work to have some food, and then I'm coming out to train. So he got home about 5, came in, made himself some food, and now he's going to be looking after Zuko for the next kind of hour and a half to 2 hours, because once I've finished training, I'm going to go and do a food shop as well, and just stock up on some nice fresh ingredients because we are running pretty low. Would like to film a full day evening over the next few days, but I don't know when that's going to be. Got loads of recipes I also want to try. I'm getting so, I have no motivation to cook at all, and I really need to get this cut sorted. I haven't weighed myself the last few days because my sleep quality's been down, and also just because I've been getting up, taking Zuko outside. I've been waking up feeling really with a headache, feeling thirsty because of being ill, so I've just been I'm just not going to weigh myself again until I'm back in my own bed, back in routine. But I'm still tracking my macros every day. Weirdly, I've tracked my macros every day this week, even though my birthday was on Monday. I've kind of been waiting for something, when I suddenly get a moment where I'm oh no, I really want to eat this, that's when I'll allow myself to. But at the minute, I've been wanting to just order takeout and pizzas and stuff in the evening, but that's literally a tiredness thing rather than an actual hunger thing. So I'm just trying to be very aware of what my cues are telling me, my signals are telling me. Is it that I'm really wanting this thing? And then obviously I'll have it because, I deserve something for my birthday. And a takeaway on the sofa with my boyfriend would be a really nice thing to have at the moment while we're both, because he's feeling a bit unwell as well, while we're both so tired. But at the same time, normally we have to shut Zuko out of the room when we have a takeaway because he's just going to want to try and steal it all, which we can't do at the moment. So yeah, basically sticking to my macros. I'm in a deficit. I'm sure my weight is coming down. I wouldn't be surprised if I weighed myself tomorrow morning, for example, because of the sleep quality, if it was up a little bit in 87s still rather than back in the 86s. But I think that would literally just be the sleep quality thing, because my weight fluctuates quite easily. I don't have a lot of fluctuations in terms of my hormones and stuff, but I do have quite a lot of fluctuations from ever so slightly more salt or sleep quality, that sort of thing. Stress and stuff has a big impact for me. So yeah, I'm basically hoping that now that things are kind of calming down in terms of work balance, other personal stresses and stuff, the weight will start to fall off. But I'm not going to properly start weighing myself daily again until I'm back sleeping in my own bed. But hopefully it'll only be a few more days because he seems to be healing pretty well. It's literally been 2 days. I won't lie, we're not supposed to be letting him jump on the sofa, but there's no way of controlling this dog, and he is literally jumping most of the length of the room, acting like he's fine, and everything looks like it's all fine and okay. So I'm hoping that he's healing pretty quickly and we can kind of get back to normal fairly soon. So yeah, anyway, don't know that there's any real updates apart from just me being tired and feeling unwell, and obviously Zuko having his surgery, but he's all fine. Yeah, no, I haven't had any motivation to cook for a while. That was something else I was going to just kind of talk through, which I feel like I'm saying this quite regularly lately. I think just because I'm overall really tired, I don't want to stand and meal prep and cook up loads of foods. So what I've been doing is, I only did this recently, but I just didn't, I don't know, going on TikTok. I don't really use TikTok for anything. I rarely ever post on TikTok because I just forget it exists. But when I want some recipe inspiration, I go to TikTok, and I've found quite a lot of ideas of what I want to make. Some whole food recipes that are pretty simple, pretty easy, that look pretty tasty, that I'll probably make my own little spin-off anyway. I found quite a few different things I want to try, basically, that should be pretty easy. Got a lot of things in the cupboard that I can be using up with them as well. So I'm going to try, maybe over the weekend, possibly tomorrow evening, because tomorrow evening we've got no plans, start cooking stuff up. I might even shut Zuko in the kitchen with me for a little while tomorrow afternoon because I'm hoping to finish work in pretty good time tomorrow. Like, I could potentially be logged off by 2:30, 3 tomorrow if I'm productive. So if that is the case, I will probably have an earlier finish, get loads of meal prep done, and yeah, prepare some food, try some nice recipes out. I think the thing that's stopping me at the moment and like making me procrastinate is obviously myself. Like, I'm the only person to blame for this. But I think for me, it's actually sitting and tracking it all in MyFitnessPal, which it does not take me long to add a recipe to MyFitnessPal. Like, I know how to work the app. Like, I am pretty quick and efficient at adding things to the app. But when you find a recipe on something like TikTok, you have to write everything in manually, which is fine. But for some reason in my head, I've made it up to be this big job that's going to take me ages, but it's literally not. Like, it literally takes me a couple of minutes per thing. I did come up with a new pre-workout meal. I say came up with. Find something similar on TikTok, but adjusted it so that it was better for my macros. I can't remember what the exact macros of it are. It's very high carb, not super high protein, and fairly low fat, but it's basically, you put 10 grams, I'm using light clover, 10 grams of light clover in the pan, 50 grams of frozen blueberries. I did put apple in it yesterday as well, but that just made the carbs a little bit too high for one meal, although it was delicious with it in. I'll probably switch between berries, apples, might even try some pears in it as well. Anyway, a little bit of butter, just like you use instead of oil, basically. 10 grams of butter, but I'm using light clover. 50 grams of berries, or you can chop up an apple or a pear or kind of whatever fruit. A little bit of cinnamon and some oats. I've been using like 40 grams of oats, but you could definitely use less if you want to cut the carbs even more. Adding in some seeds. I've been using flax seeds, but I will probably also put like sunflower seeds, chia seeds and stuff in. I'm actually out of chia seeds. Basically, a little bit of maple syrup. Kind of just heat it all up in the pan together, mix it all up for a few minutes. Don't put the maple syrup in until right at the end, and it's literally like half a tablespoon in, I think tablespoon in the pan with the mixture, mix it all in, literally as you're about to dish it up. And then in a bowl, I've got 200 grams of yogurt. You can use Greek yogurt or whatever yogurt you want to use. I've been using a low-fat skyr yogurt, like vanilla flavoured yogurt, just because what we had in the fridge. Dash of maple syrup, so another half tablespoon, why can't I get my measurements right? Another half tablespoon. So in total, I've tracked a tablespoon of syrup, maple syrup, in with the yogurt, mix it all together, put everything in the pan in there, and then it is all good. Zuko is watching me from inside the house, so I'm going to stop talking and just crack on with my session because I'm definitely annoying him, and my boyfriend just came to the window and was like, he's literally just staring at you. So yeah, that is a very high carb, good fuel pre-training meal that I tried the meal yesterday because I really wanted something like warm and wintry because I was feeling sorry for myself. So I was like, oh, nice warm cinnamon berries, like crumbly type thing. And as I had it, I was like, this is actually so good. I'm going to start trying this for a pre-workout meal. So I had it before today's session. However, I probably won't know how effective it is as a pre-workout meal and how fueled it makes me feel because this session will literally take me half an hour. So I'm going to stop talking on. My light ascending tempo bench today is set loads. I think I'm working up to like, I don't even know, 85, 90. I'll show you guys my top set. It's just tempo doubles, I believe. And yeah, and then I've got some upper accessories, but everything's pretty low RP today. Everything's pretty comfortable today. Just gonna get it done, get this food shop done. And I'm going to get back on my meal prep because this is the other thing. Because I've got nothing in the fridge prepped. Being ill, that is just asking for me to order a takeaway, which I also can't afford a takeaway right now. Like, if you've watched the last few videos, you know I've had to spend a fortune recently and pretty much all of my money is gone. So I don't really want to be ordering a takeaway. I don't want to spend anything I don't have to this month. So that is the other reason why I need to get back on it with my meal prep. So yeah, anyway, I will stop talking. I'll show you guys my top set. Probably won't really recap because it's a super light session anyway. And I'll check in with you guys Saturday.
Okay. I see across the room, X marked on the spot, everybody tryna zoom. But this is casual, another night with the wolves. But I should be dealing with them, she's a damn professional. Making plays for, don't need to be told, yeah she knows. Got these fellas down bad and everybody else mad. Adrenaline rush.
Okay, it's Saturday morning, it's just gone 10. I wanted to be in here before now, but it's all fine. My boyfriend's got to go out about 12-ish, so I basically just need to be done by the time he goes, but it's week 1. I've already roughly planned the numbers I want to hit today. Nothing should take too long, even though it's an SBD day, because with sumo, I've just got ascending sets. It goes pretty quickly anyway, like I can rack through sumo in like 20 minutes or less, so that's all fine. Bench volume's a little bit down because it's week 1, and squats are pretty light, so we're all good. I had a very bad day yesterday. I don't want to say that because nothing bad's happened. I just emotionally, mentally just drained yesterday because I've been sleeping on the sofa all week with Zuko. My sleep quality's obviously not been amazing. When I trained Thursday, my right shoulder was a little bit off while I was benching, and I noticed it a little bit during my accessories, and I'm sure that is just from sleeping on the sofa. Like, I wasn't worried anything was going to happen, but I didn't notice it during the day. I only noticed it when I was training. And then today I've woken up and I can definitely feel something in my shoulders, not overly happy. So yeah, basically sleep deprivation mixed with having a cold all week, which is not even that bad of a cold, but it's just not improved at all. Where normally I don't really get ill anymore. Like, I get migraines and stuff lately, but I don't get like actual like sickness bugs anymore. And I think a big part of that is just because I've been so good with kind of taking care of myself a bit more, and like my diet has been a lot better. Like, I used to eat quite low fats and stuff, and I definitely think since having higher fats and making sure to eat enough food each day and fuel myself properly and get as much sleep as I kind of can within reason and stuff like that, I don't really tend to get ill anymore. And when I do start to feel a little bit run down, I'm very good at fighting stuff off, where this week I've just felt like that's not the case at all, which isn't really surprising. I've literally been sleeping on the sofa, but last night I was just so exhausted. It was like 7:30 and I was like, I could literally go to bed right now. So I ended up going to bed, I think it was about 9. I turned everything off in the living room and I just kind of started trying to fall asleep and stuff. But I got an okay amount of sleep last night and I feel a bit better this morning, but I just kind of feel quite drained. And then I had this moment where I was like, it was literally my birthday Monday. And I said this year I really want to just do something nice for my birthday, or like at least feel like it's my birthday, because we just never do anything for my birthday. And obviously that, a big part of that is on me just for not arranging anything. And last night I just sat there and I was like, I've literally just been ill all week. Obviously Zuko had a surgery Tuesday, which was obviously fine. And I don't mind staying on the sofa with him because I want to look after him. And one of us has to. My boyfriend is a driver. Like, I'm not going to make him sleep terribly on the sofa and then go off and drive with work. Like, I'm not going to do that. And I've been working from home all week. But then when I went and did a food shop Thursday after I trained, I suddenly was like, I've not left the house since we picked up Zuko. Yeah, I was actually happy to be out doing the food shop, and like, I don't enjoy doing the food shop, but it's just being outside and out of the house felt really nice, and just being out of the living room, because that's where I've basically been spending all of my time. But having said that, yesterday was a very good work day. I originally planned to just kind of take it easy this week with work, just because I knew obviously I was a bit unwell, tired. The last couple of weeks have been very busy and stressful. I ended up not doing that at all. I actually put a question box on my story yesterday about what's the best advice you've ever received, because I was listening to a podcast a couple of days ago, and one of the questions that's asked at the end of each episode is what is the best bit of advice you've ever received. It doesn't have to be work related, it doesn't have to be fitness related, it doesn't have to be anything like that. Like, it's just the best advice you've ever received. And someone said nothing changes if nothing changes, and it really kind of sunk in. And like, don't get me wrong, I'm very happy with the way things are changing in my life, and like, I'm heading towards what I want to be doing full time and that sort of stuff. But I just had this moment where I was like, could I be doing more? And so yesterday I was very much like a lot of planning, like a bit of a CEO day. Very like, yeah, sit down and plan everything, schedule everything out, get a bit more kind of regimented with stuff and start creating stuff and things like that. And I felt like it was a really productive work day. But I do think because of that, I ended up so I logged off my computer about 3, which was always the goal to finish work, like 2, 3-ish. But then I just went on my laptop on the sofa with Zuko for 5 hours. I think it was 7:30, 8 when I actually turned it off, because I remember I got really sleepy around like 7, 7:30, and I was like, yeah, I should probably stop working now. So then, yeah, I eventually turned that off, and then, yeah, had about an hour of just like being in a mood, and then went to sleep. But yeah, I feel a bit better today, to be fair. Like, I don't feel quite as unwell. Like, I'm a little bit bunged up still. I don't feel healthy yet, but I feel better than I have done all week. Whereas throughout the week, I just didn't feel like I was improving at all. And I think a big part of that was obviously just exhaustion and sleep deprivation and stuff. So a big positive from this week, though, is that my body weight is in a very good spot. So I've been tracking every day this week still. Like, we've not even done anything for my birthday yet. I actually said to my boyfriend last night, I was like, can we celebrate my birthday like next week? Because I already said, because Mondays are manic for us, so I didn't really get to do anything for my birthday on Monday. I was like, my birthday is a week-long celebration because we haven't had a chance to do anything. And I was like, this week's been a write-off, can we celebrate it next week? And he did say yes, which obviously he wasn't going to say no to that. Anyway, what was I going to say? My body weight. So my body weight was 86.4 today, 86.5 yesterday. So I'm low 86s consistently, which is really, really good after being away for a few days last week as well, which obviously isn't going to cause fat gain, but it does cause a fluctuation on the scales, and my body can be quite stubborn with fluctuations, which is why I do have to put a lot of thought into the meals and stuff that I have and make sure I don't essentially go over. General thing that I found works really well for me when I am having like a meal out or something off plan. I say off plan loosely, like obviously there's not a strict plan, and I've said this in videos before, I think I've said this in my field day eating, like I'm a power lifter, I'm not a bodybuilder, I'm not cutting for a bodybuilding show, I'm cutting for a weight class sport. Main thing for me is making sure I'm fueling myself as effectively as possible, but food is very social, so I'm not going to not enjoy, like I spent years turning down social occasions and stuff, like especially when I used to be a 72 and I was trying to force myself into a weight class I didn't belong in. I need to balance living with fueling my body like an athlete, and I do take my fueling and my nutrition incredibly seriously, but obviously there are going to be times where I make exceptions, like if my friends are home, or because a lot of my friends live in different parts of the country since like going away to uni and stuff, and I'm the one that stayed home. Like I'm not going to miss out on social plans and my life because of my sport, like even if it means I have to go, like there's been times when like my friends and I have gone to Wetherspoons and I've just had my food before we went and stuff, like I'm happy to do that. But anyway, I'm a very food oriented person, I'm a big fan of food, and I've found what works really well for me is like if my boyfriend and I want to try a new restaurant or something, we'll plan to do it on like a Saturday afternoon, like early lunch, like a late lunch, early dinner type thing, like between 1 and 3ish. And then what I will do is I'll get up, I will train, I will essentially just eat what I need to pre-training, have a quick shake and like an apple or something post-training just to see me through, get ready, go for a meal, and just essentially combine lunch and dinner without letting myself get hungry. Because I think something people often do, which I used to be so guilty of this, is when you're going out for a meal and you've got social plans, basically starving yourself to allow for the calories. And obviously calories in versus calories out is incredibly important, but equally you shouldn't be making yourself over hungry and starving yourself during the day just for a meal that you're going to have in the evening. Your best bet is to eat your normal foods throughout the day, fuel yourself as well as possible, which is why when I was working with Jane, I'm doing my nutrition myself now, I'm sure I've said that in a video before, when I was working with Jane, like I would make sure to still track all of my food up to the meal I was having that I couldn't track, because it kept me accountable and made sure that I was still getting really good quality foods in and fueling myself properly throughout the day. And then when I go for these meals, I'm not stupidly hungry, so I don't over order, I don't feel like I have to force food in, I can just enjoy what I want, stop eating when I'm comfortable, that sort of thing. And it's definitely something that isn't really spoken about loads, I don't think, but yeah. Anyway, body weight, that was such a tangent. I've been talking for way too long considering I'm in a rush, but it's fine. Zuko is okay to be left for a bit longer now, to be fair. I am in a really good spot with my body weight. I am happy to be low 86s. I wouldn't be surprised if once I finally get a good night's sleep in my bed, which I think this is my last night on the sofa, so my boyfriend will then be taking over on the sofa, I believe, because he is off work next week. I don't know that he knows that he's sleeping on the sofa, but he will be. I think another like good night's sleep in my own bed, and I will probably see a decent drop anyway, so very much looking forward to just kind of maintaining at this point. I would like to get more between 85.5 to 86, but honestly, I know I can cut comfortably from this point, like 86.4. I also know that the block into British, I don't want to be in a massive deficit for that. And to be honest, I said this to Lewis previously, like a deficit for me, like my calories are never that high. So there's not a huge difference between maintenance calories and deficit calories for me. Like there's really not. It doesn't take much for my body weight to kind of start moving, which is good in some ways because it means I don't have to go super low calorie or a lot lower than what I'm used to drop weight, but it also is bad in the way of my maintenance phases and stuff aren't that high calorie either. Like there's like 300 calories in it at most, and I could eat all day. Like I am such a foodie, I have a very high appetite. So I think my maintenance calories when I did my maintenance phase with Jane were like 2,400 to 2,500, whereas at the moment I'm eating 2,200. Like there's not much in it, and when you actually look at the food quantity that I'm eating, there's not a major difference. So yeah, anyway, I don't want to be in a massive deficit for the block into British, and this is my penultimate block. So I've got this block, week 1 of, at the moment, now I'm about to wrap up week 1, and then I've got a 4-week block into British after this 4-week block. I don't really want to be losing loads of weight in that final block into British because that will potentially have an impact on my strength levels. Now, I don't think it'll have much of one either way. Like I don't buy into losing a kilo of weight over the 4-week period is going to impact my strength that much. I think if you tell yourself that, then yes, it will, but it's very much a mental game. A kilo of body weight will not make that much difference, and I stand by that. Like, people really exaggerate. Obviously, if I'm losing 5-6 kilos, yeah, that's going to make a difference. 1-2 kilos is not going to make a huge difference. And I don't recommend losing 2 kilos in a 4-week block. Obviously, like that's not sustainable unless you have quite a high body fat percentage. But generally, like when you're within like a healthy kind of body composition range, like a healthy body, I want to say healthy range, that's not the right way, but you know what I mean. You don't need to be dropping quickly and you don't want to do that. Anyway, all I was going to say was, I know the last few weeks leading into British, my diet is going to be 100% on point anyway. So as long as I'm in like the 86 to 86.5 range for this training block, I know that the final block into comp, I will probably naturally sit a little bit under 86 anyway, which will be a really good spot to be in. Cut from there, easy peasy, hopefully no hot baths this time, but I've kind of perfected that art at this point. Anyway, that was way too much talking. I don't really want to train, which you can probably tell from how much talking I've done. I'm really not feeling great, but I know I'll be fine. It's a light session. I've already planned pretty much what numbers I want to hit for the RPs given. I'll show you guys my heaviest sets and I'll recap it at the end.
Them in the dust, now they convert into stands. The world is in her hands now. She's living in my head, rent free. Burning through my long-term memory. Everybody racing in a Grand Prix. They know if they don't take a chance now. Finna stay woke, no sleep. Running back real slow, was that a wing? She's cold as ice, sugar-coated lies with the honey trap eyes. She's dangerous. She's dancing with intention. She's got everyone's attention. She's dangerous. They wanna get a number on a roulette. Tryna find an opening. Roll the dice, cold sweat running down my neck. She be on the next victim. Get caught in a web. Got these fellas spending all they got left. She be keeping the score like a follow ratio. Got these fellas praying to the Lord for a glimpse of any hope. She bad, she broke, straight unpredictable, straight irresistible. She got me in a slow. She's living in my head, rent free. Burning through my long-term memory. Everybody racing in a Grand Prix. They know if they don't take a chance now. Finna stay woke, no sleep. Running back real slow, was that a wing? She's cold as ice, sugar-coated lies with the honey trap eyes. She's dangerous. She's dancing with intention. She's got everyone's attention. She's dangerous. They wanna get a number on a roulette. And they trying their luck. Trying luck. They really wanna be the one she loves. But there she goes, breaking all of these hearts. Can't seem to...
Okay, so I've just finished training. Excuse the state of me. I'm in the living room with Zuko because my boyfriend had to go. I got that SBD session done in like an hour and 10 minutes. I'm very impressed with that. And everything went way better than expected. Squats were probably the worst of the three, but I still hit everything I needed to / wanted to. Like I still hit the kind of numbers that I'd planned to aim for and stuff. So I've got no complaints there. And I think with squats, it was just a case of I was kind of still waking up as they were going. Like I had no energy going into the session, didn't really want to do it. So I think it was literally just my body kind of adjusting and switching on during squats because I didn't have time to really like get in the zone before starting my session. So squats were good, like they moved as they should, happy with them. And then bench, my shoulder wasn't great as I was warming up, so I was a little bit apprehensive. I'm trying to make a really conscious effort to pause my singles a bit more strictly this block and obviously next block into comp, just to make sure I'm prepared for comp day, because my biggest weakness is off the chest. And I know the last couple of comps I've done, I've definitely felt like even though the actual pressing was super easy, like I hit 117 in my last comp and it moved super quickly, but I remember actually thinking in the moment, I could not hold this on my chest for another millisecond. Like it felt really like if I held it there any longer, I would have probably failed. And I also think I did jump the press command, to be fair, but I got all whites, so the rest did not notice. But yeah, I'm trying to do that. So I think from next week, if my boyfriend's about, I'll get him to come in and give me press commands just for my top single. Then I did 95 for 4, and I actually was talking to my boyfriend about my planned numbers before going in the gym to try and like get myself in the headspace to train. And I mean, he's just kind of nodding along, listening, like he's not really, he doesn't know that much, like he doesn't really pay that much attention to my training. Like we don't, obviously I show him my like main lifts and stuff sometimes, but I was saying I've got a top set of after my top single on bench, I had a set of 4 at an RPE, I think it was 5, might have been 6. Let me double check because I don't want to say that wrong. yeah, after my top single, I had a set of 4 and RP6, and I was like, well, 95 is probably a safe bet, because I then had 2x4 at 85, like a set load after anyway. I was like, oh, I'll just do like drop 10. And my boyfriend was like, nah, why don't you do 97? Like, just push it a little bit. And I was like, no, like, it's week 1. I should have probably done 97, because 95 was like an empty bar, which is a great position to be in, especially with my shoulder not feeling amazing. So yeah, bench felt really, really good. And then the 2x4 at 85, they're too light to register. Sumo, really happy with, like really happy with. So for sumo, I basically had ascending set. So I had a triple at an RP4, a triple at an RPE5, a double at 5 to 6 RPE, and then a single at 5. So with RPE based training and everything, and like a 4-week training block, 5-week training block, whatever you do, you kind of want to work backwards in a sense from the final week of the block. So like Lewis writes up the entire block. I know what I'm going to be aiming for roughly on week 4 of the block, and I essentially work backwards from there. So I intended today to only really work up to like a 155 single, because 155 at 5 is probably about right. Like I've hit 160 many times, and so it's probably usually about an RP6. And we're still nailing the sumo technique, right? Like my hips have been shooting up at the wrong point, and I've been trying to set myself with my hips a little bit higher so they're not then shooting up as I initiate the pull. And like I'm still feeling my positioning out on sumo. But I started at 130 for 3, because I was like, I'll do 130, 140, 147 for a double, 155 for a single. 130, I kind of focused on hinging rather than sitting back, and 130 for 3 felt like an empty bar. So I went up 10 like planned to 140 for a triple, felt like an empty bar. So then I was like, well, I'm not going to go 147 for a double, because that's just going to be, like, it doesn't matter if it's too easy. Like, you're better to undershoot than overshoot on a week 1 of a block. But I went to 150 anyway, because I was like, no, you can do this. So I went to 150 and did a double, and again, it felt like an empty bar. Then I loaded 160 for a single, and apart from my nails scraping up my leg, 160 felt incredibly comfortable, like an RP5, like at most. Felt really good, and bearing in mind I did that whole session in an hour and 10 minutes, I couldn't be happier with that. Like that includes warm-up drills, everything. Literally from the second I stopped talking on the camera to the second I finished the session, an hour and 10 minutes. I'm really happy with that. It was a really good session. I think I just needed a bit of me time. I think that's probably why I really enjoyed the session. Because obviously I have been at home like with Zuko, constantly looking after him. Like I'm literally, the reason I'm filming this in here now is so that I'm just sat with him and stuff. Like I've not been sleeping in my own bed. I've not been feeling well all week. Like I've been really working a lot this week, even though I said I wasn't going to. Like I've been getting a lot of odd jobs and stuff done. Like I literally sat there Thursday, bearing in mind I said I was going to have an easy week and essentially just do the essentials this week. I decided to get my tax return all up to date, ready for like this next tax year, which I don't need to be doing right now. Which I think it's good to have up to date, but you know. And I did like a whole budgeting spreadsheet for myself and like little things like that I'm glad I've done them, because I actually quite enjoy sitting and doing that sort of stuff. Like I'm very into finance and things, but that's not switching my brain off, you know? So anyway, I'm not going to complain about that session because everything moves as it should. It's not been the greatest of week. I'm still feeling unwell. Sleep's not been great. My shoulder's not felt great. Like even setting up for sumo when I'm like trying to extend my arms nice and long and set my upper back and everything, like I could feel my right shoulder. So I'm happy. I'm ending the video on a high. I'm in a good mood. I've now got the afternoon/evening, just me and Zuko at home. I do need to have a shower. I need to get some food in me. I need to sort this hair out. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm ready to show out at British, and that's what I need to remember. Like I've kind of, now that Lewis is programming for me and obviously coaching me, it's almost like I've forgotten the pressure of British coming up, which is a good thing because it just means I'm going in, doing my sessions, kind of forgetting about it a bit more. And my head definitely has a lot more room. I've got a lot more like thinking space for other things outside of just powerlifting. But it's like I have to remind myself that I've got British in, 7 weeks? So yeah, very happy. Sent all my videos over already. Really happy with how everything moved. No complaints from me. Gonna stop talking. Gonna wrap the video up here. Thank you if you've made it to the end, and hopefully I'll see you for the next one.